timepiece, it looks to be 2 o'clock. I call this meeting to order, a meeting of the Board of Trustees of Weatherford College. Today's date is Thursday, July the 13th, 2023. It is 2 p.m. We are in the community room of the Emerging Technologies and Workforce Building located at 225 College Park Drive, Weatherford, Texas, to consider and act upon the posted and written agenda. I do call the meeting to order. May I call on Mr. Baker to give the invocation?
Be happy to.
Thank you, sir.
Please bow with me. Lord, again, we're thankful to come back to you and back to this building and to be able to do the business of Weatherford College today. Thank you for the many, many students you're bringing our way for this upcoming semester. We pray for their safety and the safety of our faculty and staff and for a great next academic year. We do pray for rain, Lord, and we thank you for our board, and please be with them as they deliberate today. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 2 is public comment for individuals. Ms. Worley, do we have anyone to speak today?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. How are you today?
I'm good.
Good. Item number 3 is the President's report. President Farmer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair and members of the Weatherford College Board of Trustees, I would like to give a few brief recognitions, employee notices, and an enrollment update. Recognitions. Championship coach Johnny Emmons and the WC Rodeo team continue to excel. During the WC Rodeo team's 19th consecutive appearance at the 2023 College Nationals Finals Rodeo, Dawson Sticky Gleaves and Jace Helton won reserve champion titles in bull riding, and team roping, respectively. Our WC Cowboys and Cowgirls continue to achieve excellence. Our valued friends at the City of Weatherford have now completed much of the underground utility construction at the Nan and Bob Kingsley building. Construction of the walking trails has now begun. The trails will run from the roundabout behind the ball fields down to the Doss Heritage and Culture Center. They will ultimately connect to the city trail system. The $1 million addition will further add to the beauty of our amazing campus. You may have also noticed construction of the grant-funded electric vehicle charging stations in the parking lot of the Alcac. We thank Senator King, Senator Springer, and Representative Rogers for supporting our grant application during the funding process. Employee notices. DMAC Local requires the college president to provide the names of contract employees that have resigned since the last board meeting. Leslie Bearden, the administrative assistant in Fine Arts, has resigned effective 6/30/23. We wish Leslie the very best in future endeavors. Enrollment update. The enrollment report as of Monday, July 10th, was 1,834 students enrolled in the summer sessions compared to 1,702 students year-to-date. That represents a 7.2 increase of 132 students. With enrollment ongoing, we have 2,523 students enrolled for the fall 2023 semester compared to 2,041 students year-to-date. That represents a 19.1% increase of 482 students. Mr. Chair, that concludes the President's report.
Thank you, Doctor. Item number 4 on the posted agenda is the consent agenda and financial reports. There's 5 items listed there. I will not read each of those off, but does any member of the board have any questions or comments or statements about what appears in that item? Do we have a motion with regard to the consent agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Appears to be unanimous to me. Item number 5 is consideration and possible action for the approval of the Coyote Village re-roofing project. Dr. Cantrell, tell us about that.
Back earlier this year, we had some rather strong wind and possibly a little hail, and so we've received $200 and I believe $36,000 in insurance. That roof was 20 years old. And so we're about re-roofing that. When we took the bids in, we took them basically the same type of asphalt shingle that we had on it. The low bid on that was $194,475. And then we looked at also an option of roofing it like the new Coyote Village. And so that bid came in at $634,000 from Weather Shield Roofing and Sheet Metal. And so at this time, after considerable, the architect worked on the selection committee, as well as the CBRE was represented. I sat on it, and Jeannie Hobbs, the purchasing director. We're recommending, working with Dr. Farmer and looking at it, that we go ahead and go to the standing seam roof to match the new dormitory. That will be a difference of $397,478. And what we're recommending at this time, depending on how the end of the year goes, that we take that from reserves. And if not necessary at the time, I think we'll have those funds left over. It would just go into reserves, and we would pay for that. So at this time, if you would consider my recommendation, I would appreciate it. Or if you have questions.
Any questions from the board about the roofing project?
I have one question. For Weather Shield, so they are providing a performance bond on
Yes,
that, is that
yes.
right?
The
I noticed you
performance
put
bond.
check there.
Well, that's not unusual. They
Okay.
either have a bond or a check
Okay.
for a certain amount.
How
No,
many,
we had a lot of bids on that. There was a lot of bid opening, I can remember.
how many squares is that? Do you know, Dr.
Oh, I
Cantor?
probably don't. I don't know that it's shown that way, but I can, let's see. And, no, I don't have that information, but I can get it for
That
you.
you
But
would
it
think.
was quite a bit cheaper than the others that had bid that standing seam.
Okay.
And this is your recommendation?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion for approval of this re-roofing project as outlined by Dr. Cantrell?
I make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of this? Motion passes unanimously. The next item on the posted agenda is the consideration and possible action of a resolution authorizing acceptance of a grant number 464901 regarding funding for ballistic shields for Weatherford College Police Department. Chief Bigg,
Yes, sir.
how are you today, sir?
I'm wonderful, sir.
Good to see you again.
Thank you.
Tell us about this, please.
Yes, sir. I'd like to thank President Farmer and the board for allowing me a couple minutes of your time. In late August 2022, I became aware of a grant being offered by the Office of the Governor in the wake of the tragic events at Uvalde. The grant would provide funding to police agencies to acquire bullet-resistant shields designed to stop rifle rounds. The lack of these shields has been cited as one of the factors that impaired the law enforcement response in Uvalde. We decided to pursue the grant, but unfortunately nobody in our department had any experience at all in grant proposal writing, let alone the specific requirements of pursuing grants through the governor's office. Nonetheless, I felt it was very important that we at least try, even though the grant application period was extremely short and it happened to fall during the busiest time of our year. I'd like to take this opportunity to publicly recognize Sergeant Vern Higby, who has done most of the heavy lifting on this project. I tasked Sergeant Higby with pursuing the grant, figuring that we lost nothing by trying, and that if nothing else, the process of pursuing the grant would be educational for us. Sergeant Higby did a fantastic job and was able to quickly climb the learning curve. He was able to get our application completed and submitted by the deadline with literally about 2.5 hours to spare. Sometime later, we were informed that our application was successful and that we had been awarded $12,000 of funding for the purchase of the shields. Well, $12,000 sounds like a lot of money, at least it does to me. That will almost pay for 2 shields. We are currently reviewing which specific shields to purchase, and we plan to deploy one here at the main campus and one at the Wise County campus. I should also briefly thank Dr. Cantrell's business and purchasing folks. along with the staff at Kingsley, and especially Stephanie Fields for helping us get to the point we're at now. There are still a few more requirements for us to meet before we receive the funds. One of those requirements is that a resolution be passed by our Board of Trustees that needs to be signed by the chair and the secretary of the board. The resolution states that the board finds it in the best interests of the citizens of Parker County, Texas, that the SHIELD grant be operated for 2023. The resolution also names Dr. Todd Allen Farmer, president, as the grantee's authorized official. Lastly, the resolution states that the board agrees that in the event of loss or misuse of the funds from the office of the governor, that the funds will be returned in full. In conclusion, the acquisition of 2 ballistic shields will enhance our ability to respond to active shooter events and other threats, and will increase the safety of our students, faculty, and staff. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, and I urge the board to pass the resolution so that we may receive the grant funds.
The shields are approximately $6,000.
They're a little more than $6,000 a piece, depending on what specific features you get and the size of the shield and everything. But they're running, what would you say, run about $6,500 a piece on average with the bids we've seen so far?
Yes. What's the date of delivery?
We're working on that. We're hoping to have them here by the end of summer, so they'll be there for day 1 of the fall semester, and also can be included in this year's budget, even though this is grant funded. I'm not sure. It looks like we won't get the funds until, I think, November. Is that correct? Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? I assume we will have a motion approving the resolution authorizing the acceptance of this grant, as has been stated. Do I have one?
Yes,
I so moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Appears to be unanimous to me. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
For coming up, speaking with us today. Item number 7 on the posted agenda is entitled Reports. There are 3 different ones involved here. And President Farmer, I'll turn it to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You've been provided with your Wise County Academics and Student Services update in writing, and we have 2 verbal reports, starting with our Wise County Representative Tracy Butler and Dr. Bill Alexander here from our Weatherford campus, and they're going to talk to you about some great things that are happening in our workforce programs, both in Wise County and here in Weatherford. So the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. I'm Tracy Butler, Program Coordinator for Wise County Workforce Education. Thank you, President Farmer and Board, for the opportunity to speak to you today about some great things happening at Wise County Workforce. I know Dean McLaughlin updates you monthly, and so I will just highlight a couple of those updates because I know there's speakers after me today. The accomplishments we are most proud of are our new community partnerships with our newest program, Patient Care Technician, or PCT. Recently, we have partnered with Wise Health Systems, specifically the Hospital Indicator, to meet its needs to enhance the patient skill level for its current PCT employees. Our adjunct instructor, Dr. Christy Bowen, created a wonderful 8-week hybrid curriculum, PCT curriculum, drawing from her wealth of knowledge and experience in not only nursing, but also curriculum development and instruction. The program allows for the hospital employees to be trained quickly using their newly improved skill level at the hospital for better patient care. Before each class begins, we collaborate with the hospital regarding current needs for specific skills, and then our instructors adjust the program to meet that need. It's really a win-win for everyone involved. The hospital is providing better patient care, and the employees, once they receive or obtain their PCT certification, they receive a raise from the hospital in pay. We have had 2 cohorts so far. The program is going well, and the hospital is very pleased. The next partnership is with 2 area high schools in Wise County, Bridgeport High School and Paradise High School, same program, Patient Care Technician. This program is growing exponentially. We had 4 students complete the program last year, and we currently have 18 applicants for the next school year. We have 3 great instructors for our PCT program, all who have ties with Weatherford College. One is Dr. Christy Bowen, who I mentioned earlier. She previously taught for the Weatherford College Wise County ADN program for several years. Two are WC graduates from the Wise County ADN program who went on to get their BSN. One of those two, Allison Taylor, RN BSN, has taught for Weatherford Workforce Education at both campuses for over 15 years. So I'm happy to say the students are learning from some of the best. And last is an update. I am so nervous I did not put the slides up. I apologize. So we'll just go ahead and move to our industrial programs. Welding remains the strongest program at WCWC. From August 21 to July 23, we have had at Wise County 224 welding enrollments. And just a brief update on our 2023 third annual Weld Off event hosted at Wise County is that one of the recipients from the American Welding Society scholarship has chosen Wise County Workforce Education as the place they choose to attend, and he is already enrolled in our fall program. And also I would like to compliment our Creative Services Department on the awesome sticker logo they designed for our Weld Off. You can see it on the slide, and I have one for each of you today. While I'm passing this out, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you.
Y'all have any questions?
Thank you.
No, I don't. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Tracy. You're welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you very
too.
much.
It looked like they're torturing coyotes.
Really? I think it's awesome.
I would like to comment, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Doctor.
Every now and then they throw me into that Wise County health system, for something or the other. When you get my age, you have repairs done every now and then. And I interrogate those nurses about where they got their education. And I have yet to find a service person there, health service person, professional, that went to Weatherford College, Wise County campus, and to not just really have positive, wonderful things to say about their education there. Never a negative, never have come across any kind of thing that was negative. So I'm really proud of what I as a patient encounter there relative to our students. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank y'all for the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you, Ms. Butler. Do we have others to address us?
Yes, I was not on the original agenda, but I am the Director of Workforce Education here at our main campus. My name is Meryl Carson, and I came in.
Delighted you're here.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for letting me interject here. I came in January, and I am fortunately entered a team that was ready to hit the ground running and continue some of the great work that had happened through our predecessors. And I would like to introduce our team. They're going to stand. You're going to hear some updates from what's going on here in our workforce programs. This is the team that makes it happen. So one of the things this great team we have been discussing in our team meetings is the idea of confidence. And a common theme with some of the people that approach us with the notion of potentially entering our workforce programs is a deficit in confidence. And what we find from the time that our great team starts working with these individuals and getting enrolled for our programs is that they begin to develop confidence. And as you will see from some of the pictures in our slides, this is from our May graduation. And what you see are big smiles and a lot of confidence. And I mentioned that, and I want to start off with that because that ties workforce education with the rest of campus. Because what we see time and time again, and one of the young ladies featured with Kathy McKenzie on this slide is a great example, is once they often never have seen themselves as potential college students. Their first generation never thought that this was going to be part of their world. And they come, they enter our programs, they develop that confidence and earn a certificate, and then they do see themselves as a college student and even pursue, in the case of our healthcare professions, which is a perfect example, often these become stackable credentials and they earn points that go towards their applications for vocational nursing and other programs on our credit side. So we see that time and time again that they build that confidence and go on to pursue our credit programs at Weatherford College. And that is our ultimate goal, to see them in thriving careers and or furthering their education and staying on with us as a Weatherford College student. A couple of things to highlight with our healthcare professions. Our team has been very busy building new relationships and developing existing relationships with area health care providers and home health providers to not only provide additional externship and clinical opportunities for our students, but also to train their employees who may be home care providers at kind of an entry level, and they can earn a credential starting with a certified nurse aide and maybe building from there as well. So that has been exciting as we build those corporate relationships. And another thing is we have offered over 30 CPR courses to the community. Oftentimes those are students throughout our campus that have those that requirement as part of their classes, but it also could be community members. And one exciting thing we did this past spring is we partnered with the Weatherford College Police Department, and you'll be thrilled to know that our Weatherford College Police Force they're all CPR certified now. So that was a great partnership internally. With our corporate college, we kicked off our spring with our advisory council. And this is something that we do yearly, but had been a little bit disrupted with the pandemic. So we started in January getting the word out, and we were thrilled at the response that we received. As you see that we had over 51 representatives attend our February meeting, and this was a 300+% growth in attendance. And what is really exciting is that it continues to grow, and we're seeing active engagement with these area businesses and organizations as part of our workforce programs. Not only are they participating in things like our spring career fair, as you'll also see a tremendous growth there, but they are also engaging with us and beginning to explore how we can provide for their employee training needs. So we are deepening those relationships. We kicked off this week a new supervisor training program at JMAC, an area business. And we are having a meeting next week with NextLink to, along with Texas Workforce Commission, to explore funding opportunities and employee training partnerships with them as well. Marketing efforts, we're really trying to get the word out, as you can see, with businesses and potential students. We're using social media platforms, and our team has worked hard to increase our presence, and you'll see a tremendous increase in the amount of followers and reactors to our posts, and really trying that grassroots engagement. For our information technology program, I'm representing Dr. Robinson today. One thing she wanted to highlight was a very exciting growth in our cybersecurity programs. We had, in fiscal year 21-22, we had 6 enrolled, 3 full-time. You'll see that we, for 22-23, we increased to 34 enrolled, 23 full-time, and that is only growing. So necessitating the conversations about expansion of that program, which is very exciting. And then finally, also representing my colleague Sharon Johnson with her public safety programs. There's so much we could talk about with public safety, but I will highlight one of the exciting open houses we had this past semester with our ambulance simulator that debuted and is in full use now, and is really benefiting those EMS students in their program. So now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Bill Alexander for his part.
Thank you. I really only have about 2 slides, but this one speaks volumes. So I'm the program director for robotics and automation, and you're going to hear a lot of numbers, and you're going to look at a lot of numbers, especially on this screen. The 2 numbers that I really want to point out, which we are incredibly proud of, we have 100% graduation, or excuse me, 100% employment prior to them graduating the program, 100%. We have 97% on completers, and you can look at their average annual salary or what they're getting in employment around our service area. That brings a total of almost $9 million of economic growth and development in this community. That's for our students, their families, this community, and our service area. Those are big numbers, and our programs continue to grow. We will be launching an Associate of Applied Science in Industrial Maintenance and Automation Technology, so that's a very robust robotics program, as well as an Associate of Applied Science in Welding Technology. Both of those are coming in the fall. And so I was going to invite everybody outside in the 104-degree heat to fly our drones, but
Thank you very much.
I thought better of that. And I was going to fly them in here, but the FAA said, no, we're not going to fly them inside. But I do have a couple of representatives of our drone, as well as the picture up there, which is really cool. This is our drone taking a back picture of one of our spy drones in front of the building, and it's pretty cool. We run FAA Part 107 licensing classes, as well as 4D mapping classes. Our next class is July 24th. And the cool thing about that is I've been working with General Counsel, and we're actually going to 4D map the Carter property. And so we can have some visual representation for whatever we want to do with it moving forward. So that's hands-on training for our students, as well as applications for the college. And that's all I have, except for now we're going to have a little fun. We're going to play a little game. I'm not going to take the microphone. I bet I can speak loud enough.
Is that okay? All right. So we have our robot over here, and so part of our robotics program, we have actually 3 robots. We have what's called the Universal Robot E5, and we have an E3 as well as a welding robot. We are in the process of getting 6 more robots, which will actually be mobile wheeled, articulated legs, and so they will actually roll around and articulate up, stand, and walk. So you can roll them to the stairs, walk down and up the stairs. That runs off of various types of language, as well as building them and programming them. Our students will be doing that starting in the spring. We'll get them in the fall. But here, has anybody ever heard of 3-card Monte?
Yep.
Come on now. Yeah? I want to go to Vegas with you then. Yeah, 3-card Monte. Okay, so today we're going to do a little modification of that. We're going to call it 4-tile Monte. And we're going to do it with the robot. So I need a volunteer. So who would like to volunteer?
G.B. Bailey would like to.
Come on up. I knew it. All right. So I'm not going to show you underneath the tiles, and I promise I'm not cheating. But basically, we have 4 tiles. One of them has a Weatherford College logo underneath it, and the others do not. And so your object is, of course, the robot's going to sort them out, and then you get to decide which one it's under, and then the robot will let you know whether you're correct or not. Now I will tell you that the robot. So we're going to be playing a game, but the robot doesn't understand that. The robot, all it's going to do is we call it pick and play and palletize. So what it's actually thinking it's doing is it's actually scanning a part number on a part, picking it up and placing it in a tray, depending on what part number it is. And then that tray moves down an assembly line where another robot with an optic eye can actually identify the part, put the bolt, say like a bolt and a nut together, and it can actually screw it on, hold the torque to it, and for value, and when you're doing quality control checks, you just pull a report out. These robots will actually work in any environment, both inert and non-inert. They work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They don't require bathroom breaks, lunch breaks, and they don't need time off. So there's the great thing about having robots involved in your automation. So what I'm going to do here, is I'm going to try to gingerly set these up in a location that's going to be about as center as it is, or as center as I can get it. All right. So it's going to set the tiles out. And each time it comes down, it senses it. It hits it and senses it, where the part's actually located in the stack. And then it will move it to its location. All right, so now what we have is we have tile number 1, tile number 2, 3, and 4. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to take a guess at which tile has the Weatherford College logo underneath it.
Tile number 4.
Tile number, are you cheating? No, okay. Tile number 4. Well, let's see if he's right.
No.
We didn't make it. All right, so now you got a 1 in 3 shot on the other tiles. What do you think?
Tile number 1.
Tile number 1. All right, let's see if we got it.
Perfect so far.
Yeah. No Vegas.
It's 3.
Yeah. What did I hear? 3. All right.
Yay.
There it is. All right. Good job.
Not really.
Hey, you know what? 1 out of 3 isn't bad. And just so y'all don't think I was cheating, what number did we not do? 2?
2.
And there again, remember, like we're looking at it as a game, but the robot doesn't know it's a game. The robot's actually running a palletizing program.
Serious.
And so that's some of the neat things that our students are actually learning. They're programming and they're actually doing these functions. They are getting jobs, 100% employed, and they're actually programming automation and maintenance and repair and whatnot. And that's all I have. Does anyone have any questions?
No, I'll say a comment.
Yeah.
Working for GD in probably 85, we had some of the first automated drilling robots.
Sure.
And it took a large crew of people 24 hours a day to train robots. So you were physically going out and taking the robot, showing them where to go back to.
Point to point.
Right, point to point. And the incredible advancement in that has made a big difference in robots.
Absolutely. No, huge difference, and it keeps striving. This is for you, by the way,
Oh,
for
thank
being a
you.
wonderful participant.
Thank you.
We didn't win $1 million, but thank you very much. I appreciate it. You got any questions?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Somewhere along the line, you cross a line called AI.
Yeah, sure.
Where do you define, is that an application of AI, the programming? And do you have any kind of certification program that is useful to potential employers that would cause them to believe that our students are AI prepared?
Yeah, great question, and I'm glad you asked that. So let's talk first about AI, okay? So everybody goes, AI is coming. No, AI is here. It's right here in Parker County. I just talked to a business yesterday, and he's had an AI gantry robot changing parts for his CNC lathes. And then so he called me yesterday and he said, I just bought 2 more and I'm ready to go. His production, anybody wants to know about numbers of production, his part-to-part change on a single axis was 2 minutes. That means every 2 minutes he would have a part, and a person would go in and change the parts and load it. That was part of that 2 minutes. He runs an AI gantry robot with double spindles. His part-to-part is now 18 seconds because of AI. And really it's because AI integrated into that robot. So what happens, so let me tell you what AI really is. AI is a educational learning software. That's really what it is. It's like everybody thinks, oh, it's this robotics. It's really just a black box full of software, and it's got logic in it. And so you plug it into an apparatus or a robot or whatnot, and it starts learning what you're trying to do. As we just did this, right, it's going to repeat it over and over and over, and it learns little things like, well, instead of moving here to here, I can actually move a diagonal and I can shave off time, or I can do efficiency. That's what that robot on that gantry is doing, and that's how he turned 2-minute hand part to part to 18 seconds, because the robot's actually changing the parts, and as it's speeding up, it's figuring out what it can actually do. Now that's AI. To answer your question, we are doing AI stuff. We are actually integrating some things. We do not have an AI program, nor do we have a certification program, but our students are learning all the languages required to actually run AI.
Have
And
you
so when
found
they go, they
evidence
apply.
that there's a need for a certified program?
So a certified program at this time, I would say it's coming. Might be a little premature because AI, when you talk about a certified programming, you're talking about the front end, or excuse me, the back end of it. That's the actual programming, the logic inside the boxes. The AI that we all know is the end user. So the end user is what we teach to actually operate AI. The other side, really a lot of that's done in Taiwan and China as far as working all the logic. But it is coming, right? It's coming back overseas and we will be doing that.
It's saturating everything,
Sure is.
regardless of whether it's mechanical things or not. What about your program? Are you doing 3D printing or moving in that direction?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have been, in our CAD program, we do 3D printing in that CAD program, and we have since we started running Inventor. So we run AutoCAD, AutoCAD Inventor, we run Revit and SolidWorks. And our AutoCAD Inventor, where we do the 3D parametric drawing, that's where we do our
STL file?
STL files.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, absolutely. That's a great question. Anybody else, any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Alexander.
Yeah, thank you for.
Appreciate it very much.
Appreciate it.
Item C under 7, Doctor, I think we have Dr. Cantrell.
Yes, we do have Dr. Cantrell. I would like to very briefly give she and her team praise for the work that they have done thus far this year and always do. The budget process is always an uncertain process, and this year, due to House Bill 8 and property tax reform implications, it is incredibly uncertain. And so I really applaud she and her team for staying with it and giving us all the information that they possibly can. We are expecting an update from the THECB tomorrow regarding House Bill 8 implications. And so with that, I'll kick it to you, Dr. Cantrell, for anything you'd like to share at this time.
Bill's presentation, I'm thinking that's a hard act to follow, and if all else fails, I may have to go to him and figure out what our final budget's gonna look like. Now, I sent a written report out to you all earlier this week, and hopefully that it kind of explains where we have been. With our preliminary budget, there's really been very few changes made to that into what we call our proposed budget, but still it's not a final proposed budget that we'll be bringing to you on the 8th of August. What has happened at this point, I told you last month, I think some of you may not have heard it because I think we talked about it before the board meeting, was that early June we find out that the legislature has passed this historic tax a historical reform in the way that community colleges are funded and figuring the appropriations. They couldn't tell us what we had heard previously earlier in the year. It looked like we would be getting what we received the last 2 years for the biennium plus $1.4 million. But then when it got down to it in June and this other had passed, it sounding totally different. They couldn't give us a final figure, but they said we would be held harmless if we lost funds. So with that said, they told us then also that the rules had not been written to allocate all of these appropriations out to everyone. And we should be hearing something tomorrow, July 14th, and so I'm waiting by the computer tomorrow to see what they're going to be sending us. I hope it's not just rules, and I hope it's a final number, so at least we know where we're going from there. So that's where we are there. And then this week, I'm sure you all have heard about the property tax relief that the House and the Senate have come to an agreement on. And so that's going to change everything quite a bit. I called Rick Armstrong at Central Tax Authority to see what effect he thought and what that would have to do with the timing on our meetings that we're going to have during the next month. And so he said, actually, there's a lot of change out there, but he doesn't see it affecting the community colleges as much as it will the school districts with the appraisal caps and Oh, the homestead exemption raising to 100,000 over the 40,000. He said he thought an average house would be getting about $600 back a year for that homestead cap. But we look at over 65, and that wasn't touched. I don't believe in the, but still more is coming out all the time. They're refining on it. And he said that he will certify our appraisal values, which are up tremendously. I gave that to you in the report. They're up like 28% to the $25.4 billion. And the Wise County's up 20%, increase of $2.3 billion. So we are very fortunate in that. He said, y'all are going to do, I believe, quite well. He said, you could probably drop a penny on that tax rate and still have growth there. He said there was about $1.6 billion in new construction out there for everyone, for us, for the county, and so we will get that on top. With that in mind, he said he will certify values on the 25th of July. But at that point, he's waiting from the state, because the Texas Comptroller, they have to do all new worksheets on how that no new revenue tax rate is figured and the VA tax rate, in order to see what rate shows if we would bring in new revenue or whatever. So we're sort of in limbo to know. Right now I've proposed the 8th, and I think that's on the report later today. On the 8th will be our budget workshop. Hopefully I've got everything enough then that I can come to you with a final proposed budget. And then on the 10th would be the regular board meeting, and hopefully we can propose a tax rate that day and set a time for the hearing. I put up the 21st, but that was before I talked to Rick. And so that 21st date could have to be adjusted if everything doesn't come from the state exactly when we need it. But I know we need to go ahead and have a budget workshop on the 8th, and we'll need to have our regular board meeting on the 10th. So those 2 dates are firm, and the other one is just, we're waiting on them. Are there other questions that I can help you with? Yes, sir.
Could you just repeat, how much were values up and what did they come to as far as
Appraised value of the district?
The total appraised value for Parker County is $25,433,431,594.
Round numbers, 25 billion.
Right.
And
28% increase.
How much?
28%.
28%.
Now, those will be adjusted some. I forgot how many. I mean, how many people protested, but I don't have a final figure on that.
You didn't also have Wise County, did you?
Yes, I do have Wise County. The Wise County is $13,865,943,779. That represents a 20% increase in taxable values.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there other questions that I can help you with? The budget didn't change just a whole lot. We went ahead and moved our appropriations to what we were receiving, and then showed a transfer from reserves, I believe, down in the other revenue. And hopefully tomorrow, if that appropriation dollar comes up, well, I'll take that out and we'll move it backwards. And so we're very hopeful that there will be more than the base rate, but we're not certain at this point. We just don't know. There's a lot of things that will come into play in it. I just have heard bits and pieces. It's besides success measures and things like that, they're looking, I don't know exactly, but they're looking at our tuition dollars we're bringing in. They're also looking at the property tax money we're bringing in, which that's never come into the mix before. So everybody's just waiting with bated breath, I think, at this point in time.
Doctor, thank you very much. We'll see you on August the 8th, apparently.
Okay. I'll be here.
The next item on the agenda, future agenda items or meetings, Dr. Farmer.
Yes, sir. Just to repeat, we do have the budget Board workshop on August 8th at 2 p.m. Again, the regular meeting on August 10th to propose our tax rate at 2 p.m. here in this room. And then very likely, but possibly changing, is August 21st, the public tax hearing at noon, immediately followed by the called meeting to adopt the 2023-2024 budget and the 2023 ad valorem tax rate.
Any questions from any of the board to Dr. Farmer? The next item is announcements, and I call on Mr. Brent Baker.
Yes, sir. We have a couple of theater productions coming up. The second weekend of the children's production at the Alcag, The Three Little Pigs. It's about 30 minutes for children this coming weekend. And then after that, the summer stage production shifts to a full musical, Once Upon a Mattress. Funny musical that is 2 weekends, July 21st to the 23rd and July 28th through the 30th.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baker. The 10th item is a closed session for consultation among the board members. I will announce this in adjournment for that purpose. I have is 3:57 PM, July the 13th, 2023. We are called back into open session, having concluded our closed session with council. On item number 11, posted is consideration and possible action for real property, and there is no action to be taken today. Item number 12 is consideration and possible action for appointment, employment evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, and there is no action to be taken on item number 12. Item number 13 is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved. I so moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.